Hello and welcome. My name is Jason Montgomery. I am from Attack Bear Press, and welcome to the third open mic. Yay! Yay! Open Mic is a collaborative open mic that is brought to you by Holyoke Media, Attack Bear Press, with funding by Mass Cultural Council. We do this once a month. We do an open mic with a feature. Tonight we have some very great open mic readers in front of us. I'm going to ask everyone to remember a little bit of mic etiquette. Just remember to adjust the mic. If you don't hear yourself over the microphone, we can't hear you on the recording, and this is being recorded. All of the open mics are recorded and then broadcast on Holyoke Public Media. So without further ado, can we get a big round of applause for our first reader, Carolyn?
Thank you, Jason, and Holyoke Media. This is a great spot to be. So this poem sounds a little bit like a manifesto about the responsibility of the poet, but maybe I am also putting it out there to be a conversation starter. What do we all think? What's the responsibility of the poet? And it's a little bit of an homage, or I took some inspiration from some of these kind of second wave radical feminists, including Grace Paley. The first line is a play on her line, first couple lines. Okay. It is the responsibility of the poet to be a poet. It is the responsibility of society to let the poet be a poet, not without agitation of the mind, but without fear and hunger of the body. It is the responsibility of the poet to fail frequently. How else could it be while seeking to express the shimmering whole of this shattering world? It is the responsibility of the poet to succeed sometimes in shaping the shatter into a mosaic, a pattern emerging from where the red and the green glass touches. It is the responsibility of the poet to see beyond themselves into the eye of the eel, the body of the teen in torn shorts, a shock of blue in their hair, the man in the suit, a collar of control around his throat, the mother, a small furnace below the dark water looking for her child. It is the responsibility of the poet not to fix alone the crumbling walls, but to tell the truth that they are failing. It is the responsibility of the poet to read the Torah of leaves, the gospel of mud, the 99 names of God without believing in God. It is the responsibility of the poet to be the red-tailed hawk with bones hollow in flight. It is the responsibility of the poet to write what nobody is waiting for, but for what one person desperately needs. It is the responsibility of the poet to make power beautiful. All this is to say, it is the responsibility of the poet to love. And I'm also reading this, it's like a conversation starter. I'm trying to gather information from poets about what we think the power of poetry is and our role in it. And I've created this conversation starter tool, AKA a survey, with very alliterative topics. They all begin with P, about what is the power of poetry and poets. And if you're interested in participating, you can go to soulpathsanctuary.com/poetry, and soul is SOUL, soulpathsanctuary.com/poetry. And you just go down a little bit and you find the link for survey for poets. I'd love to hear what you think. Thank you. Poetry's revolution, yes. Thank you.
Hello again. Again, this is Jason Montgomery from Attack Bear Press. I'd like to welcome into the house our feature for the evening, Rachel Tanaka. Rachel will be coming on after the open mic ends, so thank you for joining us tonight, Rachel. I'd also like to welcome all of you. Thank you for making the third of these open mics such a fun evening for us to do here at Holyoke Media. Just a quick reminder that we do record these. They do go out on Holyoke Media, so if you wish to have your poetry not part of that recording, please speak to me. The next up on our open mic is Alex. Alex.
Alex. Hi, everyone. I'm Alex. And I give Jason a hard time because he's my partner. So, I'm adjusting this like I was told. Maybe I'm not. Oh. You know what? I'm going to leave it like that, and hopefully I'm being picked up. All right. This is Blue Laws trivia, with apologies to the daily operation. 19 states in the Union have laws against the sale of motor vehicles on Sundays, and 7 outright ban it. I scroll through the Wikipedia article as we sip our drinks and wait for the food. We annoy the nearby tables with incredulous laughter. I quiz you. In what year did North Dakota repeal its Sunday laws banning all business operations due to a horrific blizzard that left citizens unable to purchase needed goods and services? As the sandwiches we ordered arrive, which New England state was the last to repeal laws limiting the sale of alcohol on Sundays in 2019? Fun fact, also in 2019, Massachusetts repealed time and a half on Sundays, but we still have mandatory day of rest. Lucky us. And finally, on the ride home, on Sundays in Pennsylvania, it is prohibited to hunt anything but what 3 animals? I begin to give you the answer, but the road and the drinks and the jumpy blue light of my phone screen make me motion sick as you drive us back over the mountain. In bed that night, the noise of the restaurant is gone. The house is quiet as I scroll TikTok. Small video after small video hum with pop audio tracks. They tell me stories of repeals and expulsions. Tennessee, mifepristone, media bans, extermination. This filter will tell you your moon phase lover, your childhood trauma, your ideal eyebrow contour. Fun fact from the algorithm. According to Gregory Stanton, there are 10 stages of genocide. The US is in stage 6 or 7, depending on where and who you are. I close the app and listen for the creaking of the sugar maple outside, threatening to fall on us. I listen for snakes in the walls, but all I hear is a thump of bass and screeching brakes on the road. I close my eyes. Tomorrow is a Sunday. Do you want to know the answers to those questions? Yeah? Okay. Answer key. Number 1, 1967. Number 2, Maine. And number 3, foxes, coyotes, and crows. I'll do one more. Okay. Grief and the disrespected boundaries I set. This isn't a funny poem. I don't know why I'm laughing. I'm laughing in terror. Okay. You will not shut up and leave me alone. Neither of you will, the human or the grief. Even as I try gentle parenting you both, telling you I can't keep doing this. I won't. And at the same time, I know I have always been the one to hold you both closely, telling us it's all going to be okay. I sit in my therapist's office eating the Jolly Ranchers she keeps on the coffee table, trying not to ascribe significance to having the same favorite flavor. Trying to suss out whether to open the blue file tote that sits in my bedroom or burn all the papers inside. What am I hoping to find in them, if not the anguish of knowledge? The mental image of their ash is like a salve, but the investigator in me can't let go yet. I look out the window at the darkening sky and think of smoke mixing with stars, and search for moving objects that will unwrap my attention from the pain. She tells me quietly, forgetting can be a gift. The text message immediately above, "Happy birthday," reads, "You are not a good friend." From 296 days earlier. Next, you tell me you had to put your dog down. Your grief and desperation mixes with my own. I do not want this. Why do all the people I tell myself to shut out call me whenever their pets are dying? If my grief had a cat, it would text me too. With my eyes closed, I breathe out the message without sending it. I hope your dog and my cat and the part of the opportunity rover that was afraid of the dark are all together now in whatever qualifies as beyond. I'm sitting this one out. I tell myself, grief is not a good friend. Thanks.
Thank you. So today is a very special day for Open Mic. Not only is it the start of Hispanic Heritage Month, it is also Mexico's Independence Day and Rosh Hashanah. So Shana Tova, Viva la Raza, Viva la Mexico. Yeah. That is my way of saying that all languages are welcome here. Please do not feel like you have to read only in English if English is not the language that you choose to read in. So with that up, Bill, welcome to the stage.
I want to make sure, is this coming through okay, Jason?
Yes.
Yeah, all right. Well, it's good to be here tonight, even though I can't see anyone. I have 3 poems. They shouldn't take more than 5 minutes of your time. This first one is called Wild Geese, a riff on the Heart Sutra. I see in tonight's paper that a woman from the gym has become the world champion women's water skier. On the front page is my nemesis from the UMass MFA program 20 plus years ago, who said during my oral exam, "Your poetry is a ghost land, devoid of substance or significance." Well, now his picture's on the front page, announcing that he just won the Pulitzer Prize for Poetry and $100,000 cash. Later, at Big Y Supermarket, the trunk lid on my 13-year-old hatchback refuses to stay open, forcing me to sling the bags in quickly, racing to beat the sighing downward collapse of the lid, frustrated and furious at the careless bagger who stuffed cans on top of bread and grapes. Rain begins to drip from the fall sky. This is not what I planned. This is not what I dreamed would become my life. An irritating noise in the air draws my eyes upward to a line of wild geese honking. Suddenly, I am transfixed, my brain empty of thought, brimming over with the sound of wild geese honking, and then they are gone, utterly gone, gone beyond hearing and sight. And in the silence of their passing, I hear anew the lifelong whispering complaint of myself, the deep gnawing yearning to become a capital S someone. As if that would give me permanence and place in a difficult world, as if I could deny the fundamental emptiness of all identity, or pretend that somehow there is more, or that any more is needed than a car door slamming or a line of wild geese honking. This next one I actually wrote about 48 years ago, a couple weeks from now, called Walking the Yellow Sidewalk. Walking the yellow sidewalk into town, a classic fall morning shuffle through leaves, a squirrel bouncing recklessly tree to tree, and the sky so radiant, so perfect, alive. This is the way, this is the way. I feel guilty I haven't tried to see you, she said. I thought to call you, but I took a drag. Things cool on my cigarette. No, that's not right. You cooled. And no, it's not so much a question of guilt as it is the fact or lack of desire. Always it is desire. And so the work holds, and the work holds me to go back and continue beginning. Squirrels bounce recklessly tree to tree to tree. In the sky, so perfect, so cold, my eyes begin to tear. I shake it off and laugh bravely, saying, I only want you if you want me. This is the last one. At the windowsill again. Moon crawls over the tops of trees, shine on my wet windowsill so light I could almost read a book of poems in my hands. There is nothing is light in my hands. Remember your face, the curve of your hips. My sleeves are wet where they touch the sill. If you were here, I would never have gone to the window. Thank you.
And thank you. The next up, before I call up the next one, is Dawn, but special announcement. Dawn will actually be our feature next month. And normally I don't announce the day that we're going to do these because we're tricky. We make you follow us on social media. But if you haven't followed us on social media, find us at attackbearpress.com or attackbearpress on any of the social media platforms. We announce the days that we do these, but our next one is actually going to be October 28th, and Dawn Fisher will be our next feature. So welcome to the stage, Dawn.
Thank you, Jason. Okay. This first one is called Forgiveness, with a question mark. Do I forgive the two boys who held my hand to a hot pipe before homeroom sophomore year? One of them is dead, a firefighter killed by fire. Do I forgive the guy who lived on the same floor as I did, who threw me down on the sidewalk of Beacon Street, dead in a car crash in Florida? The guy who harassed all through high school, killed in Iraq. There's a memorial for him in town. I did not plan any of this, I swear, nor did I feel robbed of the moment to offer forgiveness. I have thrown one punch in my life. On the school bus, he was hassling my younger brother, dead of a heart attack in Texas. I had nothing to do with any of it. I barely thought about them. When I did, it was anger, so maybe I put it out there. The forces aligned. It's weird, isn't it? If I were a little more neurotic, I'd almost feel complicit, but I don't. What is forgiveness? Is it grace? Is it kindness? Is it better to give than to receive it? Well, I feel magnanimous, like the Pope. With a praying hand, I touch my forehead, my heart, each shoulder. You are absolved. Go in peace. Obituary. Mine will say that when I spoke a CH, it sounded like a K, and I would screw up any word with an SH. I will say that I was flatulent, that I stunk, that my skin tasted like garlic. I will tell about my tinnitus, that I was constantly saying what to people, but I heard everything. That if you gave me the chance to say the wrong thing, I would, according to an ex of mine. It will say that I could not take a decent picture, that my hand shook, my touch was gentle. That I worked many jobs, some I was good at, some not, but coworkers always liked me. That I was mostly patient with people except for myself. That I was so bad with plants that I once killed a cactus. That I could cook, that I liked making chicken tagine. That I liked both cats and dogs, refused to take a side in that argument. That I loved eating sweets. That I hated to drive, but loved to travel. That thunderstorms thrilled me. I loved snow, hated shoveling. I will say that I loved to read, that Gravity's Rainbow was my favorite book. It will probably mention that I wrote some, but sometimes I would stare at the screen, waiting. I will like it to mention that I once dated an Episcopalian minister and a supervising editor of Modern Maturity magazine. Also, a hugely talented, deeply funny, crazy person. I will say that I loved her wild heart. And finally, late August and what has mostly been a garbage summer. Tonight, I watered the garden while Dad went to the library to pick up more of the thrillers that he and I like to read. I started with 2 hanging planters stuffed with impatience. The water traveled down through the soil onto the patio, over to the unpainted wooden table that Dad had a friend make over the spring, where there is basil, thyme, sage, rosemary, parsley, oregano, tarragon. Each of the yellow bean plants produced well at first, then stopped cold. It frustrated my dad. He made the table so that he would not have to bend over to care for them. He talks to them. My dad talks to the plants, and they promise him sweet, savory, to add flavor to the roasted chicken or the lamb stew. My dad talks about dying, claims about his back hurting. The other week, when I pointed out the hawk on our front lawn, he did not turn around in time. Shit, I missed it, he said. When I went into his bedroom to tell him his grandson was dead, he didn't hear me. I forgot he didn't have his hearing aids in. I repeated myself in a louder voice. He started to sob, got out of bed. I came around to the other side, held him. I was dressed for work. He had on a white t-shirt, gray boxer briefs. There may have been socks as well. I left the room so that he could dress. Last weekend, he made a Vichy swap that was smooth, a little tart with sour cream, chopped chives added for color, requiring only a little bit of salt. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And next up, we have Kai. And if I mispronounce your name up here, please yell at me and say, hey, that's not how my name is pronounced. So, Kai.
Okay. Thanks, Jason. It is Kai. Before I get started, just really quick, I also run a poetry open mic. It is centering queer voices, and it is in Greenfield at 10 Forward, and the next one will be this Monday. So it's a pretty sweet space. You should come check it out. I'm so happy to be here. I've been meaning to make it out to this open mic. So I have 2 poems. The first one is pretty new. I haven't been writing a ton. And I've been trying to write poems where I have 5 random words, and I'm like, okay, I'm gonna write a poem from it. So this poem, the prompt I gave myself was bulb, muscle, horseshoe, straighten, and concentrate. I am pushing out. I am climbing into. I am sinew and muscle and the blood of ancestors congealing into the amber-trapped honey of history. Eyes closed, I am able to concentrate on the cobweb of senses that flicker across periphery. Static snow of daytime talk shows and vicious hum of cicada and wasp. I have learned recently how to straighten my back, shoulders back, firmly planted to the earth, firmly aware of gravity for the first time in my life. It is funny how different eyes see in a skull perfectly aligned. How much easier sidewalks, subway cars, click of tongue to teeth. How much easier no thank you, absolutely not, I'm blocking you. The sound of my own voice, a thing I still consider but do not second guess. So much less, I think I could. If you want me to, I will. Tongue, a bulb, a flower planted, rooted. Tongue, fly, agaric, amanita, muscaria. Tongue, symbiosis with pine and birch. Deep wood danger, murk and bog. Tongue, a haven for quiet and skittish and kind. And the tongue is so many muscles, push and pull, wild beasts that will buck at horseshoe, happily untamed. So I have one more, and I've just been really feeling deep immersed in love lately, and this is the first poem that I ever wrote for my boyfriend. So, honey salve. We catch snowflakes on our tongue without mittens. We sustain ourselves on each other's breath. We sit in this winter chill and wait for flower pollen and bees. In the maelstrom of words, in the storm of becoming, there is something that sparkles, broken glass or miracle. I am a human in a body experiencing pleasure, skin on skin, and I have lost track of what it means to have ever felt anything other than this. My skin is a roadmap, short history of everything that has been, sting and twist, and there is blood beneath the surface. My skin is a subway map of love, destinations unknown and also familiar. Tropical herb and corner store, mausoleum and market. Tip warm tea into my wide open mouth as the sun decides the outline of today. Feel the jerk and tremble in this sun-warm kiss and scream of everything coming unraveled and put back together. Puzzle pieces in the floorboards, the plants know your name. Black specter in the doorway, this is so many lives lived in an instant. I am whispering mantras, sweet spells of beginning. Thank you for everything you have already given me and everything that has yet to be. Thank you for sunrise and moonfall, for sunset and moonrise. Thank you for galaxies imploding 50,000 light years from this bed. Thank you for the sound of your breathing, for the wholeness of you. There is magic that crinkles in the corners of your eyes. Cup stardust in the palm of your hand and feed me slowly. Let me lick the salt and sting of it from each fingertip. Paint this room lemon yellow and maroon and the silver light of mid-morning. Open your mouth and I shall open mine as we ask together, hum, whisper, white noise of bees. What lifetimes have passed inside of this moment? What clocks have stopped today? Who first mixed the paint that colored everything blue? How have I already known you forever? With eyes closed, each question opens up, petal soft and sticky, waiting desperately for the honey need of bees. Thank you.
Thank you. And can we get a big round of applause for the production staff who are here in the back, hiding in the booth? Yeah. They are really the people who make this possible. I don't do anything. Literally, they just come in, set up everything. I just show up. So next up, can we have Lex? Lex.
I always feel like this is where I'm gonna be famous one day, maybe featured or something. Who knows? But I have 3 pieces that I'm gonna share with you guys, and I may seem like bubbly and light, but I have a very hard life, and I express that in my poetry, but in public you'd never guess. So here's this piece. Who am I? I am me in the dark, searching for light to set me free. I travel the universe to be kissed by the glint of a star. I travel the world for loved ones to show them afar. I'd walk 1,000,000 miles for a family of my own. And I'd walk through earthquakes searching for a home. I'd walk through a thunderstorm to have a good conversation. And I'd give up all I have for forever friends without replacement. I'd pick up the moon if it would stop a superstorm, and I'd do more, though I realize I'm not the norm. Here I am in human form, but I'm just me, spiritually, stampeding the earth warily without human connection. I find reason to live with addictions. I take prescribed prescriptions. I lack self-description, and I like to envision a better place. But I know the spirit is tortured in the human race. Everyone has whatever they have to get by. But we live in a world where money means more than life. And I don't have any. This one. Sure. Thank you. I'm not good with those adjusting things. All right. Cool, I'm really big. All right, this is called No Sunshine But a Lamplight. For a long time, stressed, depressed, without friends and on meds. My best friend is my bed and painful thoughts are in my head. But there was this one day last week when I was in Myrtle Beach and the sun shined all over me. I swam and teased the sea, enamored by the ocean breeze. I absorbed that vitamin D and felt heavenly. It was new to me. It was weird. Happiness I have feared because I thought I wasn't worth it. I didn't deserve it, but I am not worthless. I just have a rock wall fortress, and I've been a prisoner to my mind, and I've not committed a crime. It's just life. It's hard, and I'm covered in scars from people. I succumbed to believe that life was evil. I couldn't even look at the stars without grimacing, although purpose I know is promising. But I stare at myself debating, am I worth it? This unloved kid? Let me go unplug. It's been 10 years since I had a hug, But just last week, my niece hugged me and it was inspiring. She's 8 and she's great. She talked to me about Disney and little kid things. And for the first time in a long time, I felt the love that a child brings. Now that conversation is all up in my head. It is my motivation to get out of bed. I'm trying new things and changing my beliefs instead. I'm a product of conditioning, influenced to believe all things are menacing and a mockery. I lost my light in the plight of philosophy and to adamantly believe that all things are the worst they could be. Now it's up to me to set myself free by reframing. I see it is the love that brings the magic out. Believe if life was a game, then love would be the jackpot. It surely is the prize. This one's, it's so serious, but it's like, it's almost comical because it just talks about society, the media. It talks about the media and the ways of our society. Okay, it goes, could I ever make a missing persons headline to be pretty and white and successful alike, worthy to be cared about by the masses, all social classes, to have that status, to be enamored by the media and mentioned in Wikipedia? Well, at this point, I'm fat and I'm poor. I don't think everybody would adore me anymore. But at one point, I was pretty and white with a good job, money and a bike, tall with blonde hair and brown eyes, with a happy, curious smile. Just what society needs to care about unanimously. Could I have been? I think I could have. I just might have made a missing person headline. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And next up, we have Zhu Peng. How did I just mispronounce your name? All right, welcome.
Yeah, I saw you trying to adjust this, but I'm quite a bit shorter. Oh, it's good to be here. I am a relative newcomer to the Valley. I think I moved here about 7 years ago. And it's just been in the last couple of years that I feel like I'm really making community and really connecting with the land. So the 2 poems I want to share are both written this summer. This summer I had 2 really great experiences of walking the Connecticut River, the Quinnipiac River, with an indigenous elder, grandmother Carol Blodgett, who is a water carrier and does a river walk, Water is Life walk every year. So this first poem was written after a walk along the Quinnipiac. What are the Windsor Locks? Of all the many times I've traveled through this place, on the way to the airport, to get on a plane to take me somewhere else in transit, I've never thought to ask, what is the story of the Windsor Locks? Why were they built? Whose homes were drowned to make a canal to divert the power of the Quinnipiac River? For what purpose? How have they affected her? What scar have they left? We stand on a small bridge, the water carrier and a few helpers, walkers, students of these ancient ways, ceremonies that honor the sacred river, a parliament of queerly, quietly disruptive birds of a different feather. A young, blonde, uniformed man opens a gate I hadn't noticed, serves us a face screwed up with suspicion, mistrust, orders, regulations from the boss. Excuse me, what are you doing? Are those ashes? We swallow chuckles. Ashes? Cremation? Grandmother explains. No, this is water from the source of the river. We are praying for the healing of the river. We are blessing her. His face softens. Every twitchy muscle relaxes into a smile of relief. Okay then, yeah, go for it. I open my mouth to sing my water song, and grandmother raises a hand. Sing into the bowl, into the source waters. She brushes the eagle feather to the side, as if to make sure the wide mouth is wholly ready to receive, and I sing into the bowl she holds for me, and the voices of my grandmother and aunties and uncles and cousins and brethren and sistern and kinfolk across the ocean and from the before times, and my relatives of the future, and our two-legged, winged, finned, four-legged, warm and cold-blooded mycelial fungal kin, all of our voices vibrate into and out of this bowl of water. And grandmother pours the water, that is all of us, our tears, sweat, blood, souls, back into the river. And she receives us with warm, wide waves. The second one was written when I met with a group of people who love the land. We've been meeting every week at the Co-op Riquezas del Campo in Hatfield. And so this first day, we were kind of getting to know each other. It's as if the land, the forest, is always watching us, he says. We sit in circle in the plot marked C on the map that dictates what can be done where, what body imposes legislative power over this lot. The grass, sensitive fern, fungi, worms disregard these imagined lines. This valley is highly magnetic, she says. I feel a pull in the soles of my feet, attracting minerals hidden deep in the soil, nourished by glacial melt 11,000 years old. And what in my feet attracts the thick layer of living beings nestling against each other, eating each other, becoming each other. We share stories, trees we cried for, homes we longed for, secrets whispered into peeling bark. Land is everywhere, she says. We step in silence into the everywhere, the wind between fence posts, punctuating the wide expanse of roadside plant nations thriving, taking back her kin. Thank you.
And thank you. Next up, we have Allie. Allie.
Is this good? Oh no. The dreaded mic fixing. Okay. Is this good? Okay, cool. Okay. I'm gonna read a new poem. It's called Ballast. Yeah, okay. I don't belong here. I'm having immediate regrets. This light, a sheet, cartoonishly, nullifies texture, hurts the buildings. Windows spray, gray day. My heart, a small bleed into a drifting pause, waits to undress in front of you, hangs around in your fire escape. Waking up is about as honest as it gets, or the only condition I can face against. Sky is exactly big as I care about, because I've watched the birds widen for rain, each summer storm a lamb pissing in the back of the pen, each golden field aching off its usual hue. A shower releases its tension in a wide sigh. I'm roughening in the steam. If it's the joke, I'm laughing almost all of the way. I'm developing a real spot for you here. It's each room that feels accidental. Each shipwreck is an honest accident. I can't think of one that isn't. It's the ballast tanks with the water queuing in and out, listing 15 degrees. I know there are false starts in real bodies. I'm connecting the dots, hazed out in the nightness of a friend's lawn, with my heart dunked out here in a weird beer, and the bug bites I'm living out of. Gnats float in a disco. The stars itch and glow. I neuter my pride. Country sky in a directional blur closes out in a vowel sound. I was excited to picture you here. A picture holds nothing but its own memory. If I could see you seeing me, I would probably look away or laugh or apologize or one or more of those beautiful things. Everyone wants a clean break. It's so erotic. To be handing out party favors somewhere near the exit, I cite the impossibility. Thank you.
And thank you. And this is just another reminder in case anyone is new or just walked in, that this is recorded. It goes out on Holyoke Media. If you have an issue with your poetry being recorded, please come and speak with me. Next up, we have Jen. Jen, please.
Hi. Oh, goodness. Okay. I'm going to read 2 poems. This first one is called Weather. What keeps you here? If early blue deep in the wind makes you want to live forever, I know who you are. Morning's broken rib, once an arrow in you, going translucent now through the season. Summer is a material you can part, keel of your shoulder, a weight you can live inside. But in the field, it isn't yours to keep. Your body, dark sword culling the meadow, sparing what you can name, as if your work were ever just your work. Not the story of your bitterness, of your harm, how you can take it, how you wear your hands, how you weather them, how we make a life in what we choose to keep alive. Take the weeping and the bird out of it. The hawkeye still sings underground, night kept in the red soil. You know the rain would bend for you, knows you by your river, walking on its vapor arms all night through the valley. And this next one is called Circles. What I remember is knotted, effervescent, tumbled, and wrung, a tree that grew through the middle of a life I only fell into. There was an empty landscape I belonged to, a dark center where my body was that only came back crushing the red seeds of natal mahoganies. Glossy black and unbreakable, there were days I felt that small and forever. Days where pine needle braids and plumbago chains, the measured space between 2 words, the bad quiet I kept in the notch of my throat. My life had already happened to me, and awake at the blue foot of the bed, the end was a crater I was stranded inside, the empty bowl in the earth where the tree used to be. When I get a new body, I want it to remember me. I want to remember swimming tangled through the water lilies, drowning before I was born, the hunting wind, the healing mud, stung knees on nettle, cold singing in the creek, lying back in a tire swing, or the ocean, even when she let go of my hand and the salt of that long waiting held me down for the rest of my life. I choose it forever. That's the promise I make when I catch the light leaving behind my eyes. Where do we go when no one decides it? What was a tree before we gave it a name? What will you remember when your body has left you? Tell me what you know about the earth. Thanks.
If you notice tonight, I am a little rushed and hurried. I'm not my normal chipper self. It's because we got started a little bit late, so I'm trying to keep things moving along. And with that in mind, Hunter.
Hey, what's up? I'm just gonna read one poem. It's called Into the Absence That's You Tonight. There I go again, coldly wanting a past so removed it's compact. So I broke it open, so I wanted more from the dying, you said. It felt like that bright knot of what we wanted converging on a raised dais in the middle. It was so good, it was kind of like being adjacent to that real opulent feeling, no words, just the sky and what falls out of it, the surface of each day marked with a kind of temperance in my mind. I render it and loop it back each day, the sun so fucked up, spitting bright heaven into me. And I'd like to perfect this, drag a form out from under the long morning and hold it up to the light, beauty, the distortion. You have to remember it now. You have to look through it, the warped and the artificial. And if this feels so much like art, then I fucked it up. I want the tender reasons, the drifting light of an August night, spent at the lake watching forms go cold as the day drains away from what it felt like to feel. So available, I'm aware of how arrogant I sound, how tapped in I am to the abstract, but I do believe in love as a means of suspending time before it goes through the open grid of what we mean and who we are when we wake up with a reason to. And something like the sky flooding the room with duration, something total and felt like life, like light suspended above a building, the moon a still image held aloft in the retinal factory, hollowed out a sentence only to sound emotionally reticent. I walked beneath a fucked up sky, thinking you back through the cool streaming, resurrect the cliche for a moment, tell me something stupid and meaningless. I get so embarrassed sometimes, honestly, and visibly crushed up against the surface of what I wanted to show you and what I had to do to get back there. For a minute, I thought I saw you. You loved that moment, those colors, elegant meshwork of angles, going partly lost in the half-light of another August gone, and in the parking lot, I got so fucked up I couldn't see anything, terrible and almost nightly. I see forms and things and music, so permanently I retreat back through the voice, but I can't remember what you sound like. So I go so variously through the sliding glass doors in the middle of my thinking, these dark petals of form that fall across the surface of my daily wandering, awful, breaking into what? Something real enough to touch, a glance sustained that leaves me feeling something like an edge to this, a soft light and imminence, quietly dilating here in the fracture. Why am I so content, functionally disordered momentarily, so I get up and walk around into the absence? That's you tonight. Thank you.
So now it's our third one of these. I can say this without it being weird. I love it when past features come and read at the open mic. So Jade, welcome to the stage. Welcome, Jade.
Hey, everybody. Is that a good enough volume? I can't hear from up here. We good? Sweet. All right. Yeah, I'm going to cut down to one poem since we're moving along a little bit. This poem is from and for December. Thank you very much, perfect. Pitch with no pitchfork, night finds her falling forward, a landing, an arrival in his arms, his gentle, trusting arms. She must work her magic fast, move him to accept betrayal like coriander. Herb, yes, but also spice, maybe part of some larger healing of the body. Protective, his arms fantasize at that, protective. Sun still bubbling out of horizon, yet Some deeper dark falls, a war candle guttering, resisting honor's inversion, and as you know, at the end he turns, like an ankle of the soul, spraining, and she must have her knee seen, bending to the moral arc of our audience. Out damn spot she delivers to them as if she means it. But look closer at this text, at the Scottish blood 109 times placed by some man of great stature. How must he feel to know she killed a king when the playwright himself is ruler of her play? Maybe this is why she confesses in her sleep, the only time she cannot be called herself, her moment of vulnerability when a frightened king's words can safely make her mouth home. Perhaps then even the blood is her choice while awake. Certainly, after the audience applauds and plods off into day, in the shadow she is left gazing at her hands, at her marvelous, brilliant, bloody hands, their work, their reds. She is seeing spots. She is seeing red. She smiles down. Thank you.
Oh, we made it through the open mic. Yay! Thank you, everyone who read tonight. I really appreciate it. I really appreciate you sticking with us as we started a little bit late. Can I read a poem? Yeah, please, please. It's new, and it's not good, but it's a poem. So, okay. If in a memory of softness, I could feel the fullness of breath on my neck, sweet and stained, with a watchful gaze of loss that has found its way home, that could be love. That could be the lack of longing that presents itself in the waning moments of a camera click, then stays frozen for as long as the paper lasts, or until the film negative dries to dust, erasing it from time. Don't be erased, memory. Don't drift away just because most days I don't need you. The day will come when I can't live without you. The day when I need to know what softness is again. I want you to be there, brushing full lips across my neck, under a shared blanket, on a hill that is now a housing development. So that's it? Yay. Thank you. Thank you so much, and it is now my pleasure to welcome our featured reader. Our featured reader tonight is Rachel Tanaka. They was born and raised in Honolulu, Hawaii. She currently writes in Western Massachusetts and is a student at UMass Amherst MFA for Poets and Writers. They've been published in Vagabond City Lit, Poetry Northwest, and Overheard Lit. Her work engages with body, family, and water. Please welcome to the stage, Rachel.
Okay, can everyone hear me? Okay, I loved hearing all of those poems. Thank you. My first poem is called Playground. Playground. I like the slack of power lines. I used to lay in the car while he drove and watch them change against the sky. The clean progression of it, the rubber, keeping noise like swings, the small baskets asking to carry newly working lungs through the air, the gorgeous pit in the stomach where we felt wild fruit grow, then the long sway towards stillness. The summer I opened my window to let the moth out of my room. The extra space, so minute and embarrassing. The slipper he kept with a crack across the sole because he missed feeling the ground. How he used to walk everywhere barefoot as a kid. The wet grass, the millions of nerves. Okay. Dance. It confuses me, the sound I made while you slept, the oval we kept in our throats, the bones, the mother in us forming the space our bodies came to, the long line to spend money on what would make me legible. Lashes, a pen of waterproof ink, it's whatever until it's time to go out into how they imagined me, the blatant disappointment, the slip on the floor, the invisible stick, the stench, the form all fucked, or my interpretation of it. The blue, a sign of tuning, like, what? The music so loud. Flight. There's something embarrassing about the light, the elbow shaped by it, the body being dust. The sun corrected me. I mistook the circle in the water for a door. You and I ran to see how we might have changed. I pretended. I watched circles eat circles. I heard you found yourself reaching toward the patch of gold blooming from the clouds like a trumpet. What breath, what pulsing or flight, perched with quiet pathways inside it. Open. I rolled a dried plum seed in my mouth to check my own circumference. I wanted to talk to my body in the field where grass went still like turf or eyebrows framed the face and both mine went undetected. Doves made check marks in the sky. I sat, spit out the seed, knowing nothing would sprout. I think your sour and my sour are different, which means one of us mistook the other for gross. This morning, I woke up with a nosebleed. Instead of killing time, I left creases in the paper where I tried to fold a cup or went directly toward the stream to drink. Surface. The distance became us. I tried to find you in a tree. Is a body more than something to hold? I kept you, rung. I mistook the bigger sky for an ending. The tree which stood there forever watched me circle the inside of my room and thought I was making time. The tree which stood there forever brought me comfort. When myself lifted from yours, when the wind picked up, it removed a leaf from the lake's clean surface. I knew so little. What failure took shape in momentum. I thought I had to be without you. Boundless, you nowhere in light. Okay. This one's called Sound Travel. The halved green, the bright pink time we chewed on, your efforts dissolving on my body, the brevity I fell into as we touched. You're calling me sparrow, my sparrow needing sound like water, so my sparrow wept. The ocean, a guttural sky, my current pink sky, my pink waves breaking the tone to thank you. Parrots. We threw sound for the other to catch in their mouth and sing. Bright, sour fruit, spikes. I remember you showed me those huge leaves blooming in the park that smell like rotting corpse. Bodies mimic green. The color I tried sanding down to a symbol. Then the square ran out of luck. I had my body again. The complicated process, turning sugar, making earth. Okay, this one is called Spring. Spring. You cut the dry patches out from air. You fold the paper to a tall mountain and carve the body out, hang snowflakes in the room. You want to make beautiful. You want the sun. You want layers. You want symmetric lines in the lac. That percussive shape you find at the center of your thumb, so annoying. What good is the day if it's always a lake? You look good in your cataclysmic shoes. You look good in whatever coiled night you fake. Citronella, heavy evening. I ran out to the water where it broke. I thought of you. I saw an orange chair on the sidewalk trace the cracks in the vinyl, ugly patterned time. What I gave you, I don't know. I'm sorry. What I gave you, I would give you my love of noon. When we get to tomorrow, we'll have this sad shape, a circle, a deadened tube refracting on the sureness of your face. I tried to split the glimmer into corners or lines, into rivers, into rods, shaking headless in the wind. This reaching is awkward. This brutal bend of time, the question, a structure inside me. What do you want? This morning, please say anything but my name. The shell, before this was a seed. Minor origin in the fault line, viridescent in the earth, hopeful loss in the body or spring. Wake. After my first life beside you, skies bent to irreversible blue. You saw, I saw, different figures rising from water, a seal, a curve of shining reef. I figured myself a trance the morning I did not want to know you. I found these pools within pools, underwater cliffs. You caught me or would not let go of my hands. I dreamt of nothing pressed to my palm, thinking there should be some private sense for me to keep. Early that morning, I did not mean to see the moon, but the dead light fell toward me. I let it keep on the ends of my face, the rising channel and lung. August. We felt we were too small, destinations shining atop a larger one. We felt sick, honestly, with salt. We opened our eyes, which, drowned by light, instinctively shut again. We felt pressed against the simple plane of beauty, two marks disrupting an entirely solid sky. We turned toward each other to watch light die and live across our face, pupils humming, a blooming cloud of gnats. visit. It hurt a little to see the vases of lilies lined out on the grass. Aunties shield my face from the sun. The well-manicured field and marble disrupting the light. The constant gnaw of tending made me hungry. Blades opened there and there. Daffodils scattered across the morning. Grandma looked smaller than she was, than all the women in my family grow to be. Look, giant clusters of pollen, silly yellow heads to sky. Okay, this one is called Rain, and it mentions the initial V in it, and that V stands for Vika, who is my roommate, and she's here today. But yeah, this is a poem, looks like this. It's about my porch and the seasons, and the tone is a little different from the rest of the poems. Okay. Rain. The wet porch, the wet books I forgot on the wet porch, the wet sheet V gave to the porch for sitting and looking for hot people while eating chips and talking and opening books while wondering where the hot people are. The farness of things, the cars coming down weirdly together, the empty street. The party we joked we were not invited to, the parties we never went to, the coast being gorgeous, the hospital only a couple miles away, the several ambulances we see a night. The time I thought the red cardinal call was a broken, high-pitched hinge, the nature here confusing us, the ticks, the nature of things, the discussion of American cuisine, the nearby restaurants, the influx of people, the end of summer and fresh figs, the noticing of at different times our new neighbors, the interpretation of expressions, silence, and dreams, the glass box, the geese, the social, the light flickering against the ceiling fan, my irrational fear of ceiling fans, her rational fear of dogs, the many people walking their dogs, the narrow sidewalks, the dimly lit streets, our neighbor's garden, the daffodils and hydrangeas, the tulips, the staircase, the stained glass bird, the door, the loud front door, the heavy cloud of smoke, the car on fire right beside our street, the window speckled with snow. Ugly root, ugly here. I bought the biggest daikon I could find at the World Market. I took the cold weight in my arms. I tucked it in the produce drawer. I thought of it each time I left the house. I made the daikon stay like I wanted to stay. As weeks went by, I hated that the daikon wouldn't brown. I checked. I felt unchanged. I never wanted to cook. April came through the door with dirty shoes. I felt somewhere across the water, Mom inhale and click her tongue, telling me to clean. I went out to the porch. I tried to read, but the page was too bright. Blue-green dimension in the sun. I watched a child bike by himself around this little neighborhood. I felt relieved. I felt my stomach ache. I felt unsafe in the wooden square of safety. It was boring, making shapes in my head. this season a stack of bricks. B called me on the phone and tried to turn it soft like clay, like a thing itself, like dirt or an orchid in the garden above me, something ugly and hopeful living on a log tethered to the top of Grandma's wired fence. I opened the fridge and untucked the baby. I guess I untucked the daikon. I got distracted. I kept remembering the sky, how to get there, how to get there. I wasted money on returning a whole day falling back. I kicked a rock on the sidewalk to hear it clack and sing repulsion. I had a good day at the park. I came back to the house, sprinkled salt in the corners of each room. I wished M happy birthday. I left a curve of oil on the empty tone. I called Mom, who said ginger helps with sleep and sickness. I gargled salt water when coming back from the cold. I added yellow slivers to my tea. I thought of the jars sitting empty in my cupboard, about pounds of pickled miasmic suns. I took the trash out to the dark blue bin, watched the sky match that color as it went. Okay, this is my second to last poem. It's called Nap Time. Nap time. It's hard being small. I ram my fist into the fist of the boy I love. Bloody knuckles, funny sound of bones. I think it's funny they called me funny or honeydew before they knew the honey was green. Days rip apart like sour belts. Home feels like oil. Rainbow, rainbow. My stomach really hurts. Yesterday, the teacher placed a star on my hand for being quiet. I hate this sticky ghost. Okay, this is my last poem, and it's kind of abrupt transition because it's a very silly poem, but it's called Parrotfish. Yeah, okay. Parrotfish. My fish brain wanted to fuck, wanted to get hyper hydrogen, let every molecule gill out into the blue distance between us. So what if the kelp gets in the way? Let the kelp get in the way. Don't let the weird shape of nature get you all icked out. Like those lobstermen who harvest lobsters. Oh, how they'd hate to hear us fuck. They'd tell us to get off our water couch and get a job. They'd be pissed if we smiled at them and said, we loved that one season of Lobstermen that came out in 2009. Said, they're why we wanted to move to the ocean in the first place. Also, while we're here, I think we should take up dancing. I heard it's easier, zero gravity. I heard good dancers are good dancers because they know their body well. Let's count our scales. We'll be pros at ballet. We'll travel across this ocean floor. We'll sew our own unitards and slip it over our single muscled love. We'll do the slowest sleep in the world. We'll find a pack of eels, tell them we have an insatiable craving for being hot and eating coral. They'll laugh. We'll knock our beaks together and make the best mounds of sand. Okay. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you once again to our featured reader, Rachel Tanaka. We really appreciate you coming down. I also would like to thank everyone who read at the open mic tonight. You all are really what make this so special. And I hope to see you again next month. And this is the first month that we announced that it will be on October 28th. And can we get one more round of applause for Holyoke Media? Yeah. And just a little plug for Holyoke Media. You can become a member of Holyoke Media and use all of their incredible equipment and gear. They have an entire podcasting station and incredible people here who can teach you how to use any of their amazing equipment. So thank you to Holyoke Media for all you do. Thank you, Johan. Thank you, Natalia in the back. We really love you. And everyone have a great night.